This show has been done only once ever. It's never been published. Written by a lady in California.
The tables are turning and you're crying now, while I am just learning to smile. Who's sorry now? Who's sorry now? Whose heart is aching?
Oh, these cats are full of fleas. I'm being eaten alive.
Just stand still, Daisy, so I can get a look at them. We have to get one the right color.
They told me you were in Hollywood, in California.
Oh, yes, I was, but I found it so artificial. All the eligible men are married and are having affairs, and all the good-looking men are dating each other.
Jane has gone into seclusion, but she could do with some company.
Not her, you. I came to comfort you. It must have been terrible for you.
Oh, I wasn't involved in Jane's divorce. She got involved as a hockey player or something.
Daisy, it's for a good cause. You have to do your duty for him and country. You want to get our inheritance.
I'll give you fish paste when we get home.
Yeah, kitty. Oh, yeah, kitty. Oh, gotcha!
Where does Angelique's part come in on that? That's what I'm... Is that right after that, right?
Yeah, that was right after that.
Who with?
Or Mr. Otto comes back on.
Mr. Otto comes back on. Before we do, let's continue that. And
I'm sure you know your sister-in-law's reputation. If they did an autopsy, I bet they'd find that Mrs. Hubbard, Margaret, died from ptomaine poisoning.
George, do you mind if I call you George? I wonder if you could possibly assist me with a little problem I'm having in the garage.
I don't assist anyone anymore. In fact, I give the orders around here now.
Poor Jeremy being stuck with that French fluff without a penny to her name, no pun intended. What he needs is a rich, sophisticated woman like myself. If I remember, Otto, you were very fond of Margaret. You must have been devastated.
Margaret Winifred Hubbard, née Morrow, née Higginbotham.
You can leave out the part of being of sound mind.
To Mrs. Kim, who was a good housekeeper, though she never learned to cook.
so they need another cat. So they had to go down, so they're looking in the back alleys of Manhattan for a cat that is similar to the one who has died, who is the heir apparent to the fortune, or one of the heir apparents to the fortune.
What happened? Mr. Pym said the minister's on his way.
Oh, the Pears is going to be a wedding after all. I vaguely recall Jeremy waking me last night and saying something about having found a wife.
So when you do yours, you move slightly forward, and then you go straight up. When you come down, and she says, come down. One, scene 3?
Yes.
Let's start from there and run this and run the next scene, and then that will have been the first act, and then...
Well, looks like Valentino hasn't gotten back with the bride yet.
What if he comes back now and sees you drinking his whiskey?
What, this stuff? This is the cheap moonshine. He keeps the good booze locked up in the cellar.
Blue heaven, I turn to the right, a little white light will lead me mine. Blue heaven, a smiling face, a fireplace.
Mr. Pym has explained everything to you?
It has. That looks so simple.
You're worried about thinking, what are we going to do about this kind of thing? Oh, over here, geez. Then you look over and you just come in, just step inside the door, that's all.
Where happy am I, blue heaven. smiling face, a fireplace, a cozy room, a little nest that's nestled where the roses bloom. Just Molly and me, and baby makes three. We're happy in my blue heaven. I heard it last morning. I turned to the right.
We shall live happily ever after, even if it kills me and that damn cat doing it. Happily ever after.
I think she's going to make you a wonderful wife, and I'll see to it that she is a proper one.
Make it a double.
Or two of them.
He's still here. I don't have a word with him. I can use some help with my garden, especially the roses.
Oh, yes. Well, I've decided to give it up.
Margaret's last wish that the will be read as soon as possible after her death. I, Margaret Hubbard, being of sound mind, do revert this last will and testament dated this 21st day of September 1929, and do hereby negate any previous will which I have signed. To Miss Cheshire, my secretary of some 18 years, I bequeath the sum of $5,000.
A very generous lady. Why shall Mr. Terribly?
To Mrs. Pym, my housekeeper and cook, and to her husband, Noel Pym, my faithful butler, I bequeath the sum of $5,000 each.
She was such a lovely lady and a beautiful person.
She certainly was.
And to George, my trustworthy chauffeur, I leave the Rolls Royce. I will take better care of it now that it's his.
That's it? The Rolls?
Yes, that's it. We expected more.
That car's older than you are. You got about as much tread left on the tires. How come I ain't getting some of this cash?
Well, she probably thought you'd spend it on booze. And instead of using it to take driving lessons.
You ungrateful little man.
And to my dear devoted, high principled, loyal, honest, faithful, scrupulous, adoring, doting martyr of a husband, I leave the remainder of my estate, including the yacht Bonne Chance, our home Chateau Liaison, our summer home in Florida, and the bank accounts here and in Switzerland. Lastly, because I know how much he cares, I leave in Jeremy's care our beloved, prized Kitty Dianza to love and cherish and comfort for the rest of his days.
Prized Kitty. That flea-infested feline with halitosis and no tail? Doesn't even have Manx in the bloodline.
Oh, one moment, please. There are conditions to this will. After I'm gone, to ensure that each of you will continue to work together, and to make sure Tecumseh will have the best of care in his waning days, all of these requests will be honored 1 year after my death, provided that Tecumseh is alive and well at that time, and also that Jeremy remarries within 48 hours of my passing and remains married for 1 whole year. If all of these conditions are not met, I have directed Mr. Otto to turn over my entire estate plus all other bequests to my favorite charity. Oh, that's it, folks.
Is this for real?
You can see why I was so anxious to get on with the reading. You had very little time to comply with the conditions.
48 hours, that's only...
Yes, it's precisely tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock.
I'm going to have to get on the phone right away. Hello, operator. Hello. This is important. Mr. Pym! Mr. Pym! Oh, Otto, what am I going to do?
I don't know what to advise you, Jeremy.
You rang, sir.
No, I called you.
Yes, sir. What can I get for you?
You get me a phone that works.
I'm sorry, sir. The phone's out. It's the storm.
Well, then get it fixed. Don't just stand there. Call someone.
Sir, I can hardly call someone if the phones don't work. I guess the storm blew down the phone lines.
Very well, then get me George. He can drive me into town.
Sir, the streets are all flooded. The car will never get through.
You do realize that none of the bequests will happen unless I do something, don't you? Very well. I guess I shall have to walk. Mr. Pym, give me my reindeer.
Reindeer, sir?
my rein attire.
Yes, sir.
I shall have to wade into town. I have to make that one phone call.
Just one phone call, Jeremy?
Certainly only one phone call is all it'll take. 2 at the most.
To Jane, I suppose.
Yes, to Jane. Or Penelope. How did you know about Jane?
Come now, Jeremy. Everybody knows about you and Jane. And about you and Penelope.
Everybody? Even Margaret?
Well, I can't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. I do hope you get through the storm and everything.
Oh, have no fear. I will get through. And I'll have her here in the morning.
Jane?
Or Penelope.
I do hope Penelope doesn't find out she was second choice.
And she must never know, Otto. That's just between you and me.
Supposing neither of them are in town, what then?
I'll cross that bridge when I come. I guess there's always Marcia.
The one with the giggle?
Yes, the giggle. And then there's Monica. And Mildred.
Mildred? The one with the mother?
Yes.
Oh, Jeremy, you can do better than Mildred and her mother.
What do you mean? Certainly I can do better.
Mildred and her mother. Perhaps you should give this some more thought.
More thought? I don't barely have time to get to town. find a phone and get in touch with one another.
Supposing none of them are available, or God forbid, interested.
Well, I hadn't really thought about that.
Your reign of time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
And your umbrella.
Oh, thank you again, Mr. Hill.
Would you like me to wait till you return, Jeremy? I'm rather anxious to find out who it will be.
Yes, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Why don't you stay here and make yourself comfortable?
All right. I don't know who's favoring this race to find the new Mrs. Hubbard. I think I'll ask Mrs. Pym to make me a hot drink to warm me up.
Oh, this is just your way of getting back at me, isn't it, Margaret, my dear? You probably planned it all. Everything, didn't you? Dying in a thunderstorm, flooded streets, down telephone lines, and you probably thought I didn't have enough time to find another wife. Well, let me tell you, Jane or Penelope or any of those women would fall all over themselves in an effort to be here with me. You didn't know about Jane, did you? Of course you knew Penelope had a crush on me and you hated her for it, but you pretended to be her friend anyway. You know, Penelope's younger than you are, and almost as wealthy. So if I marry her, I will be twice as wealthy. Oh, Margaret, I am eternally grateful to you for insisting that I get married and stay there. You thought you'd have the last laugh, I know, but I will show you. I will get married, and I will stay married, and I will take care of that miserable, tailless, flea-bitten feline and feed him the best caviar money can buy. Your money! And they'll let him wallow in luxury for 365 days. And then in 366 days, I will take great joy in depositing him in New Jersey. There you discover the beauty of Newark. And live as all cats should, in concrete comfort. Looking for their meals in trash cans outside little Italian cafes, fighting for scraps. Oh, Margaret, what a feeble attempt to make my life miserable. I plan to live happily ever after, even if it kills me and that damn cat with it. Happily ever after.
Daisy, I did what I had to. I think everything's going to work out. Mr. Hubbard not back yet?
No. Do you think he's going to be able to get a hold of one of his ladies?
Well, I very much doubt it, Daisy. Won't be easy under the circumstances.
Well, if things don't work out, we'll lose our inheritance.
Oh, Daisy, don't you worry. Things always work out. Just you wait and see. And what do you think you're doing?
Well, it looks like Valentino ain't got back with the bride yet.
And what if he comes back now and sees you drinking his whiskey?
What, this stuff? This is the cheap moonshine. You know he keeps the good stuff locked in the basement.
You're not supposed to be in here unless you're summoned.
Well, excuse me. Get off your high horse. This is me you're talking to. something at stake, just like the rest of you. And remember, you're working class just like me, so don't be putting on airs and graces. You don't impress me.
We are not the same as you. We are in service. We have class, me and all.
In service, is that what you call it? I hate to be waiting for service from either one of you.
Oh, you're a fine one to talk, driving around the Hamptons like you're trying to beat Henry C. Graves' record.
Yeah. The old girl didn't die in no automobile accident, did she? No. It was all that garbage you fed. Stopped up her intestines. That's what killed her.
Mr. Pym, you're not going to let him speak to me that way, are you?
Well, she is known far and wide for her culinary expertise.
Yeah, far and wide. You don't see nobody stopping by at dinner time to save $100 leftover dishes, do you? At least not if they've eaten here before.
What on earth is going on in here? Do I have to remind you that Mr. Otto is still in the house? Is this any way to repay Mrs. Hubbard's kindness?
Kindness? She gives, and then she takes away. Under the proviso that Mr. Hubbard married by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, and that little kitty cat lives to see another year. It's not gonna happen. No. She was just messing with us.
We will all be out of here if Mr. Hubbard catches us talking this way. There are enough sinister goings-on going on without dragging him through it. He needs our help to get through this.
Oh, that's so true. And I do hope he finds a kind and considerate wife. Don't you, Miss Cheshire?
I doubt it, Mrs. Pym, considering the ladies that he associates with. You know, any one of them, if he manages to contact them, could make our lives a living hell. Oh, someone's coming.
Cooking at this time of night. So tell me, did you get hold of Jane? No. Jane's got herself married in the past year. She's already being sued for divorce. Oh, so sorry. So she's not available? Yeah, some sort of scandal in Poughkeepsie. Thank God I didn't summer in Poughkeepsie last year. Anyway, she's already gone into seclusion in New Jersey. Well, it's penance enough, I suppose. There are worse places. Then Poughkeepsie, New Jersey. Really? It was a Canadian ice hockey player. She married a Canadian ice hockey player? No, she had an affair with a Canadian ice hockey player. Thank God I didn't fool around on the ice last year. They are good with a stick and a puck. So you spoke with her? No, with Marcia, actually. She's also married. Happily. Oh, dear. So sorry. What's the world coming to? So, no Jane, no Marcia. No, what about Monica? Monica is terminal. Monica's dying? Something she picked up while she was in Mexico. Oh, horrible. Damn their water. Her sister said it was something she ate. What about Penelope? Did you get in touch with her? No.
She's in Hollywood and California, according to her sister. She thinks she has what it takes to make it in the movies. She even wrangled herself an intro to Charlie Chaplin. Anyway, there's no possible way she could be here by morning.
So who's left?
No one. Except Mildred. But Mildred and her mother moved to Utah and joined some strange new cult. You know, I think Margaret always intended for me to end up with Mildred. I am going to lose everything. I can't believe no one was there for me. As much as I hate to admit it, Margaret is one. I went where she wanted. Pennies. No pun intended.
You do realize the entire estate, yacht, houses, money, even the offshore accounts are going to the STC Society.
The what?
The STC Society for the Preservation of Persians.
You mean Arabs?
No, Persian cats. The Save the Cats.
Look, we already told Margaret we take care of, what's his name, the cat?
Do you know anything about the Cat Society, Jeremy?
No, otherwise
Oh, it's a fine organization, charity. It's, the money goes for the care of retired Persian cats.
Are you serious? Retired cats? Oh, I'm so glad to see that Margaret's money is going to retired cats who no longer wish to lie on walls in the middle of the night and audition for the Cats Chorus from Casanova.
I am so sorry, Jeremy. I'm just trying to make you feel better. Just trying to be helpful.
Yes, helpful.
Well, perhaps I should go.
No, look, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I know it's just that I never had a rather bad luck like this before. Do please stay. I think I could use your support in the morning.
Well, since you put it that way, I'll stay.
Thank you. Let's say we have a nightcap.
All right, if I can be of some comfort.
I was just coming by to ask if you thought I should ask Mrs. Kim to save the sandwiches from the funeral for the wedding tomorrow. Any luck, Jeremy?
No. I was unable to reach anyone due to the storm and the damn telephone lines. I should try again when the storm subsides.
Oh dear, you haven't found a wife yet? Time is running out.
I think I'm going to go into the kitchen and ask Mrs. Pym if she'll let me have one of those sandwiches.
Miss Cheshire! Lovely evening! To be inside by a warm fire, so warm and cozy. Could I offer you a drink, Miss... I just realized I don't know your first name.
Oh, I've never let alcohol touch my lips. Esmeralda.
I beg your pardon.
It's my first name, Esmeralda.
Esmeralda! What a lovely name! Esmeralda! May I call you Esmeralda?
Miss Cheshire.
Yes, of course, Miss Cheshire. Tell me, Miss Cheshire, are you married or engaged or anything?
You mean to a man?
Certainly.
Good Lord, no!
Well, I find that hard to believe. I mean, you're such a kind, attractive woman. Miss Cheshire, have you given any thought to what you're going to do with your inheritance?
I assume you are referring to the $5,000 that Mrs. Hubbard left me.
Yes, have you made any plans as to what you're going to do with it?
Oh, I never count my chickens before they're hatched. Besides, I have a feeling that this little nest egg is going to turn out to be quite rotten.
Well, if you do get it, you could go on a trip around the world, a cruise. Especially if I were to contribute another $5,000.
Jeremy, are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting?
Marriage? In name only. For the sake of the inheritance. You could go on vacation for a year, and then after a year you could return, and we could both divorce quietly and go our separate ways. What do you think about that?
I am much too principled for that.
Well, what happened? Did you ask her?
No! Of course not. I couldn't bring myself to propose to that woman.
Could do worse.
Yeah, I could not do worse. I loathe that woman. I don't even think of her as a woman. It takes any kind of your correspondence. I could do much better.
Have you seen the time, Jeremy? It is running out.
I am at my wit's end. I feel my world is going to come crashing down around me. None of my rich friends are going to like me. They're all going to snub me. All I can do is sit here and think about how my life as I know it is over.
Well, in that case, I think I'll turn in. Wake me if anything changes, if there's going to be a wedding. Right, old man.
How could you? I gave you the best years of my life. When I had the time. Why me? Why me?
Well, monsieur?
Yes?
May I get you something before you retire for the night? A cup of cocoa or a glass of warm milk?
Who are you and what are you doing here?
I am the maid, monsieur.
Really?
Mrs. Pym engaged me this afternoon.
I didn't hear anything about a new maid. Where did she find you? Are you from around here?
I am from France.
Oh yes, of course. How silly of me. But what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm living at Miss Pringle's private school for young ladies a couple of miles down the road.
Then why on earth are you applying for the position of a maid?
It is a very long story, sir. You see, I was an orphan in France, and my uncle sent me to Miss Pringle's to learn the American ways. But alas, my uncle died penniless. Oh, we were very poor in France, so now I have to find whatever work I can. I came to the door this afternoon in the rain, and Mrs. Pym kindly offered me a job as a maid.
You know, I was completely unaware we were even looking for a new maid.
Oh, sir, I need this job. Oh, I can't afford to lose this job as I have nowhere else to go.
No family or relatives?
I have no one, sir. I am all alone in the world.
Tears? No, you're perfectly welcome here. After all, I'm Jean Hubbard, master of the house. So, you say you have no one to support you, no acquaintance or friend or boyfriend?
No, sir.
Or husband?
Oh, no, sir. Miss Pringle would never allow us contact with the opposite sex.
Well, do you mind if I ask you about your health?
I feel I am in excellent shape, sir. Don't you think so?
Oh, yes, excellent shape. Yes. About that thing you wanted to know if I wanted before I went to bed. I don't about warm milk or anything like that. No, I think I should have a nightcap. Yes, I want some bubbly to celebrate your new position. That is, if you will join me.
Oh, that is very kind of you, sir. Oh, I don't drink, but perhaps on this one occasion, join me.
Excellent. You stay here, and I'll go down to our cellar and pick out a bottle. Yes, and that is my wife, Margaret. She recently left us.
Will she be back soon?
Oh no, I hope not. She's passed on. Died.
Oh, I am so sorry, sir.
Please, sit down. Yeah. No, not those glasses. There we are. They picked out a lovely year for us. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Let us toast to Margaret.
Good health.
Oh, let me get you another drink.
That tastes so good, sir.
Well, you seem to have enjoyed it. Please. No, sir. I insist you call me Jeremy.
Why? Is that your name?
Yes, I can see you're going to be very happy here. By the way, did Mrs. Pym happen to mention any other vacancies we were attempting to fill around here? What I mean to say is, have you ever thought about marriage?
No, sir. I've never really met anybody who I would want to marry.
Well, surely in France, as a young girl, you dreamt of marriage.
Oh, yes, sir. Surely. I dreamed I would meet a man who would be mature, intelligent, educated, who owned a big house and had lots of money, who would take care of me. Oh, if I were to meet a man like that, I would do my best to make him the happiest man in the world.
By mature, you do mean older.
Jeremy, age is just a state of mind. It matters not if he has the other qualities.
Forgive me, but I have most all of those qualities, and I am available.
But Jeremy, you have only recently lost your loving wife. You will be in mourning for a very long time.
Speaking of mourning, it's not that long a time. You see, my wife cared about my future and happiness so much that she requested that I get married just as soon as I could after she passed.
Exactly how soon do you think she meant?
Well, to be exact, she meant by tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
Oh, how romantic! Oh, she must have loved you very much for her to want that for you.
Yes. So you understand what I'm saying? In my own perfunctory way, I am proposing. Yes, I believe fate has brought us together, and I will be doing this even if there wasn't immediate urgency, even if we'd known each other for a while. Got to know each other really well, say over a week or so.
Oh, I hope you are not toying with my affections, sir.
Oh, no, of course not, my love. No, I plan to show... Oh, you seem to be empty there. I plan to shower you with gifts. Furs, trips abroad on my yacht. All the most wonderful gifts a man can give.
Diamonds?
Yes! And, of course, I'm looking for a woman who is compassionate, passionate, understanding, loving, and obedient.
I promise to be compassionate, understanding, loving, and
obedient.
Oh, look at the time! I better turn in if I'm going to marry you in the morning. By the way, Jeremy, I hope you will allow us a little time to get to know each other better before we consummate the marriage.
Yes, of course, my love. I understand perfectly. So how long do you think it'll be until we can fulfill each other's dreams? A few days? A week?
6 months.
Your wish is my command, my love. I'm sure our life together will be full of joy and wonder. How about just one more little toast before you go off bed?
Why not?
One more toast to Margaret.
To Margaret, the poor lady.
Oh, no, she's not poor, wise. She insisted on that I live happily ever after, and I'm very grateful to her. I intend to do just that.
To Margaret. Thank you, wherever you are.
Jeremy waking me last night and saying something about finding a wife. When I awoke, I didn't sure if I'd been dreaming.
Well, who is it? Who did he manage to find so late?
He said something about maid.
What maid?
Not sure. Oh, he said something about Mrs. Pym.
He can't marry Mrs. Pym. She's already married, I think.
Jeremy said something about a new maid that Mrs. Pym had engaged on Margaret's orders.
Well, she never said anything to me about a new maid.
Well, maybe she forgot. She was losing it a bit toward the end.
Huh. You mean to say this maid just showed up on the doorstep in the middle of a thunderstorm, did she?
Seems to be the case. It's rather convenient, wouldn't you say?
Oh, indeed I would. Very convenient.
You know, Miss Cheshire, last night I was rather hoping that Jeremy would ask you to marry him.
Oh, he did. He also offered me $5,000 more and a 6-month vacation if I would. I told him no. I am far too principled for that sort of thing. Bless you.
Thank you.
You will need it.
Will you help me with this tie? What was that all about?
Apparently, you have insulted Miss Cheshire, old man.
That's too bad. But then must you really call me that name, especially today of all days?
Why, is she very young?
Who, Miss Cheshire?
No, your bride. You do have one, don't you?
Oh, yes. She's young, lovely, available, and somewhat willing.
Willing to what?
To marry me and share my life.
Your wealth, too, I'm supposing.
Are you done with the tie yet?
Yes, she's a very debonair.
Thank you.
Have you told her about the will?
Yes, of course. I felt honor bound to be truthful as I could. You know, I think I may have swept her off her feet.
Still, strange.
Strange? What's strange? I'm a bit of a ladies' man, you know.
Wow, I've never doubted that for a moment, Jeremy. Jane attested to that, and Penelope.
Did they? You know, it's a pity Penelope won't be here on time.
Margaret, too?
Really? Margaret, too? Anyways, Penelope and all the money, all the money that could be mine. What am I saying? I'm a young new bride. Start anew.
And what was your new bride's reaction to the terms of this will?
Oh, well, she was really quite agreeable. And I told her in all candor that we didn't have to live together constantly, if you know what I mean, that sort of thing, until we knew each other better.
Knowing you, Jeremy, that'll be 5 minutes after the ceremony.
That long?
Oh, you rogue. Are you starting to believe your own reputation? Such modesty. Shall we toast the new bride?
No, I think I'll pass. We had a bit of a toast last night. I'm not very fond of champagne, but she seems to love the stuff. I don't know where she put it on.
What is your new bride's name?
I don't know. I don't think she ever told me.
Would you like me to find out for you, old man?
Yes. Thank you, Otto.
I hate to give you bad news, ailing.
What?
Well, he won't sleep, he won't eat. All he does is lie around all day licking himself.
Wasn't that what cats are supposed to do? Look, if you're worried, have him go see a vet.
I talked to the vet. He said Tecumseh is lonely. He needs a companion. He needs someone to love.
At his age? No. He's too old for any feline fooling around. What else did the vet say?
He suggested that Tecumseh sleep with you like he used to do with Mrs. Hubbard. I think he misses her a lot.
He used to sleep with Margaret? I didn't know that.
I'm not surprised you were never here.
Well, he's not going to sleep with me. Besides, tonight's my wedding night. Why can't he sleep with you?
He's a tomcat. Besides, he doesn't like it.
No.
No. It's my body scent he doesn't like. I make him bristle. I think Tecumseh needs another cat to keep him company. You know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Look, if a companion is all he needs, then get him one. It should be the sole purpose of everyone in this house to keep that cat alive.
And happy.
Oh, I don't care if he's happy, just as long as he's alive a year from today.
All right, I will find him a suitable companion. You know, this place is turning into quite a cat house.
That will be all, Miss Cheshire. Well, it's Angelique. Angelique. What a lovely name. It's so ethereal.
The minister's assistant is here, Mr. Hubbard.
Thank you, Mrs. Pip. Tell him I shall be there in a few moments.
I think he's new, sir. I haven't seen him around before.
Oh, yes. Well, he's a missionary from Utah, I believe. He's just helping out.
Oh, there you are, sir. What a handsome bridegroom.
Why, thank you, Mrs. Pip. And we're all very grateful to you for hiring Angelique. Thanks to you, we shall have a very rich future. Though I was unaware that Mrs. Hubbard had been looking for a new maid.
Oh, yes, sir. Mrs. Hubbard said she needed help upstairs due to the fact that she was having a problem getting up and down the stairs ever since she fell ill.
Yeah. Well, Angelique is very well equipped to be lady of the house. I do hope you like her, Mrs. Pip.
Oh, I do, sir. I think she's going to make you a wonderful wife. And I'll be seeing to it that she's a proper wife. You know, lady of the house. You just leave everything to me. Oh, I'll even help her with her English and, you know, get rid of some of those French ways.
Not all her French ways, eh, Mrs. Pip?
God bless you, Mr. Hubbard.
Oh, he has, Mrs. Pip. He certainly has.
Oh, good morning, Mr. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Oh, Miss Cheshire. I was the late Mrs. Hubbard's secretary.
Of course you were. Well, now you can be my secretary, as I am now the new mistress of the house. What was it you did for the late Mrs. Hubbard?
I would attend to her correspondence and take care of her affairs.
She had affairs?
Not those kinds of affairs. Business, estate, those kinds of affairs.
Oh, I'd prefer them open.
But the light fades the cards. If you're looking for writing materials, you'll find them in the library.
Oh, well, I thought I may, you know, dictate something.
Dictate? To me?
You're a secretary. That's what you do, isn't it? When the mail arrives, please bring it to me straight away. When I have read it, I will ring for you.
Am I to assume we'll be finding a new maid? Seems our last one found a new position.
Help is so hard to find these days.
Lovely morning, isn't it, Miss Church? Lovely day. I trust you slept well, my sweet.
Very well, thank you.
I was very lonely knowing you were all the way down the hall in the guest quarters. Could I get you an aperitif?
And a pair of what?
A drink. Champagne!
Oh, I don't like champagne. Jeremy, I don't think it's a very good idea to be drinking this early in the morning. And at this time of morning. Well, have you forgotten prohibition?
But what about the other night? I thought you enjoyed our getting to know one another. Besides, we don't practice prohibition around here. I have friends who get us anything we want.
Jeremy, I don't hold breaking the law.
Just bending it a little, not breaking it. And now that we're married, perhaps we could take a little break upstairs?
6 months, Jeremy. We agreed.
Did we? I don't remember.
Another reason I think drinking alcohol is a bad idea. I'm going to speak to the cook about dinner.
Miss Penelope Pendergast.
That's Gast with an H and a T. Pendergast, facile, n'est-ce pas?
Yes, Miss.
Jeremy, how good you look.
Penelope, I don't believe it. I heard you were in Hollywood in California.
Oh, I was, but I found it so artificial. All the eligible men are married or having affairs, and all the good-looking men are dating each other. Then I heard about Jane's divorce, and I came to offer some comfort.
Well, Jane's going into seclusion, but I'm sure she could use some comfort.
Not her. You. I came to offer you comfort. It must have been terrible for you.
I wasn't involved in Jane's divorce. She was fooling around with some ice hockey player.
Oh, but it must have hurt your feelings for not turning to you.
I didn't even know Jane was married.
I doubt many people did. I've seen her acted married. She loved a sporting man.
There we go. Oh, new step. Our little favorite.
So, how's your old Margaret?
Oh, Margaret. Margaret's dead.
Dead?
Yes.
When? How did that happen?
Monday. She went to sleep and never woke up.
Oh, what
She had a bad heart for years.
What a terrible thing! You poor soul! You must be so lonely. But you do look fit and rather good, actually. So when was the funeral?
Tuesday afternoon.
You didn't wait long, did you?
Margaret insisted upon it. She left explicit instructions in her will.
The will? You've had the reading of the will already?
Tuesday.
I must say you don't waste any time.
Look, can I get you a drink?
Oh, this has come as such a shock. Make it a double. Jeremy, I was just talking to Mrs. Pym and... Oh, Jeremy, you're not drinking this early and I didn't realize we had a guest. Oh, hello. My name is Angelique.
Penny, this is Angelique, my wife.
Who is she?
An old girl. Margaret's, my wife's.
Not that old.
Look, Angelique, could you get me a glass of water?
What do I look like? The maid?
You didn't take the ring off the body?
No. Of course not. That was my mother's.
Pity you missed the wedding. You could have been a bridesmaid.
So, what were you before Jeremy married you?
I was a student, pursuing my studies.
So Jeremy just plucked you out of the classroom?
We met accidentally and fell in love. Didn't we, mon chéri?
A storm brought us together.
Was this before Margaret died?
No, of course not. After.
After yesterday?
After Tuesday.
Why did you wait so long?
I'll go see if Mrs. Pym can bring you some water.
I'm right behind you, my love. I just want to talk to Penelope for a moment. She can't stay. Oh.
How all afternoon? I had hoped that we could spend it together.
I want to try and explain everything to you. You can't believe what's happened to me or what's been going on around here.
Oh, I think I can guess.
No, you can't. It's Margaret's will. And Tecumseh.
Tecumseh?
Margaret's cat. Look, Penny, it wasn't my choice. I had to get married.
I am devastated, Jeremy, by this marriage. I always thought that if anything happened between you and Margaret, that you would turn to me. After all, I'm almost as wealthy as she is. Or was. I know how you adore rich women.
Yes, I do. I enjoy them more than anything else in the world. But I did try to call you Tuesday after the reading of the will, but your sister said you were in California trying to meet Charlie Chaplin. By the way, did you?
Sexy little lineman.
Anyway, we knew there was no possible way you could be here by the next morning, and that's when Angelique walked into my life.
You don't remain celibate very long, do you?
I couldn't. The terms of Margaret's will was very specific. I had to get married within 48 hours of her passing and remain married for a year, or I don't inherit a nickel.
I can't stand it. Who could be so cruel?
Yes, who indeed? My loving wife and your friend, Margaret.
What in God's name was she thinking?
I think she was thinking she'd see me tied to a nagging shrew for a year.
I beg your pardon.
No, not you, Penny. I think Margaret believed that I'd end up with Mildred.
Mildred? The one with the mother?
Anyways, I think she planned it all. Even stopped taking her medicine just at the right time. I really should go explain everything to Angelique.
You go and let me commune with myself for a while. Would you mind if I used your phone?
Be my guest. Have another drink.
Operator, give me Hampton 666, please. Otto, it's me, Penny. I'm here at Jeremy's and I just heard the terrible news. What? Margaret's death? Oh, yes, that too. What I was referring to was Jeremy marrying that awful French slut. Well, you can tell that she's as common as muck. No, don't be ridiculous. She's absolutely unsuitable for him. Now, Otto, why didn't you get him to wait for me? Well, I can't believe that Margaret would be so utterly bourgeois. Well, no. Otto, if I recall correctly, you were awfully fond of Margaret. You must have been devastated. Otto, you naughty boy. No, Otto, I didn't know. Stop it. Otto, behave yourself. Let's be serious. I need to talk to you about my finances. I've heard disturbing reports from people about the state of the economy. Why don't we meet at that divine little bistro we had lunch in last time I was here? Good. In about an hour? All right. Toodaloo.
What a tragedy. I simply cannot believe it. He was on his way up to go to bed where she was waiting, and suddenly he dropped down dead.
Pardon me, sir. We were wondering where we stand now.
What do you mean?
Well, with the cat gone, sir, what's to become of us?
It can't be over. Can it?
I did have a thought, sir. What if we were to find another cat that looked just like Tecumseh?
Oh, that's an idea, Jeremy. Despite what Margaret tried to palm off as having some extraordinary ancestry, Tecumseh was a very ordinary-looking animal.
No, he wasn't that ordinary. He didn't have a tail since the accident.
That is easily remedied.
You mean a vet?
Perhaps not a vet, sir. After all, Mr. Otto knows every veterinarian within 100 miles. We must be more circumspect in the small details, sir. I have a brother-in-law, Boris. He is a man of many very special talents. He will see to it that the operation is taken care of. For a small fee, of course.
How small?
Oh, just a little something for his retirement fund. I'll have him come round and talk to you, and you can discuss it with him.
What about Mrs. Hubbard?
Margaret?
Oh, no, Miss Angelique.
Oh, that Mrs. Hubbard, yes. I should understand. Angelique is very understanding. Now, it's Otto we have to worry about. That man knows cats.
Oh, on the contrary. Otto's feline fetish first began to flourish upon commencing a friendly flirtation with the late Mrs. Hubbard. That's when he became founder, secretary, and treasurer of the Cat Society. I doubt he was more than just an aficionado before that.
Well, where are we going to find a cat that will be mistaken for Tecumseh?
Leave that to Mrs. Pym and I. Me, sir. There must be 1,000 cats that look just like Tecumseh. Mrs. Pym and me, and I, sir, we'll go into the city and we'll search through every back alley until we find one.
What about this brother-in-law of yours? I don't like any part of it, bringing in a stranger.
We need Boris to take care of the tail. You can trust Boris. Mr. Hubbard, sir, he's worked for many well-known families, and there's never been the slightest breath of scandal.
Very well, Mr. Pym. Have your brother-in-law come and see me.
Very good, sir.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a bride waiting.
Oh, careful, Jeremy. Remember, poor Tecumseh.
Come along, Daisy. There's work to be done.
These cats are full of fleas. I've been eaten alive.
Just stand still, Daisy, so I can get a look at them. We have to get one the right color.
How come they're all around me? They won't leave me alone.
They can smell the food.
I've eaten the food I put down, and they're still sniffing around my feet.
Oh, well, you see, I rubbed fish paste into your shoes.
What?
We've got to make sure that we get the right cat. So we need as many as possible to choose from.
Fish paste?
Daisy, it's for a good cause. You have to do your duty. For Pym and country if we want to get our inheritance.
Ooh, I'll give you fish paste when we get home.
Here, kitty. Gotcha! Ow! Look at this one, Daisy. It's the spitting image of Tecumseh.
I can't tell, because he's got a tail.
Picture him without a tail.
Then grab him and let's get out of here. Oh, somebody's coming.
Come on, Daisy, let's run.
How can I run with all these cats around my feet?
Imagine there's tigers chasing you, and run!
No! Wait for me!
Jeremy?
Yes, of course I'm all right.
What about the rest of the household?
Well, the servants are getting a bit bullshit. Actually, a bit surly. Especially George.
Well, they're just testing you, old man. Servants will do that if they can get away with it. They're used to Margaret's gentle touch.
Gentle touch?
I had lunch with Penelope the other day. I'm sure she told you.
Yeah, she said the two of you had to get together something about business.
Yes. I'm sure it was very awkward when she dropped in here so unexpectedly. She was rather upset during our lunch together.
Well, what could you expect? You know, Penny's always had a thing for me.
Yeah, she is a fascinating woman. If only she weren't so extravagant.
Oh, no, that's part of her charm. As a matter of fact, that's the biggest part of her charm. All that money. Certainly more than she could spend in one lifetime.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Anna, do you know something I don't know?
Oh, I don't feel ethical discussing Penelope's finances. I am her lawyer. I will say that we should be thinking about tightening our belts here in the future. We could be in for a rough ride.
No, don't be so pessimistic. I just wish Penny'd come home a few days sooner.
What are you saying? Is all not a bed of roses with you and the new Mrs. Hubbard?
No, it's nothing like that, Anna. It's just, when I think about all that money Penny inherited from her father, all that money that could be mine. I know you've always fancied Penny. And after Margaret, I think Penny fascinates you more than anyone else. And I don't know why. She's nothing like Margaret. Margaret is a feet firmly planted on the ground, tweeting gabardine, heavy brogue shoes kind of woman.
Margaret was just prudent, that's all.
She was downright parsimonious.
And how is the new Mrs. Hubbard?
Angelique? Oh, well, she's adjusting to being lady of the house quite well. Oh, Otto. She insists on making us wait 6 months until, you know.
Oh, Jeremy, you're losing your touch.
Oh, Lord, I hope not.
Oh, the cat, Tecumseh, how's he doing?
Oh, yes, Tecumseh. About that. Can't very well talk about the cat now because you're not staying, are you?
Wait, what?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't come out the way I made it to sound. It's just that I'm looking for a lift into town. I need to pick up some tobacco.
But you don't smoke.
Yes, well, I'm thinking of taking it up.
How are you going to get back?
I will walk. I'll have a nice long smoke.
A little late in life to be taking up new vices, isn't it?
No, it's never too late in life to take up new vices.
Oh, Mr. Hubbard, we found him, and he's perfect.
Pim, who have you found? What?
Well, congratulations, Mrs. Pym, you found him, have you?
Who have you found, Mrs. Pym?
The gardener! Well done, you found us a gardener. Excellent. Well, that means you won't have to wrestle with the rose bushes anymore. The roses have been a fright ever since Margaret left us.
Yes, sir. He came to the tradesman entrance and he wanted to know if we needed a gardener.
Of course.
And I told him that I would ask you about the wages and, you know, everything like that.
Is he still here?
Oh.
I'd like to have a speak. I'd like to talk to him. I could use a gardener, especially with those roses.
No, sir. He's gone, sir. Well, he said he would come back later, you know, in a day or so, or a week.
Well, when he comes back, would you have him contact me here? Take my card and give it to him if you wouldn't mind.
I do.
Yes, sir.
What's mine is yours. Within reason, of course. My money, my wife, and you. Here, let me show you out.
I thought you were looking for a lift into town for tobacco.
Oh, yes. Well, I've decided to give it up.
Oh, there you are, Daisy. Did you tell Mr. Hubbard about the cat?
Oh, no. I almost spilled the beans in front of Mr. Otto.
What?
Oh, I didn't know Mr. Otto was standing by the door when I came in to tell Mr. Hubbard that we had found a cat.
Oh, dear Daisy, you didn't.
But Mr. Hubbard managed to convince Mr. Otto that what I had actually
getting nearly enough. We're gonna have a little chat.
Ungrateful little worm. After all Mrs. Hubbard did for you. Well, leaving you that lovely car.
Yes, yes. Yeah, well, that's all she left me. But you and your stuffed shirt here get to divvy up a nice little nest egg. There isn't gonna be any cash in my pocket at the end of the year. I'm gonna have to start looking out for myself.
Well, didn't see you down no dark alley in the city looking for a cat with spitting image of Tecumseh and getting scratched from head to toe.
Yeah, you know, let me just have to have a chat with that idle fella and tell him about your little trip into town. Yeah, well, I'll be out of the car, which I can't afford anyway in this lousy job. But you and your frumpy crowd here will also be out of the job. And not a penny to your name.
Oh, no, do something.
There is nothing he can do.
Now, don't carry on so, Daisy. I have a little plan. Guess who's coming round to detail the cat? Boris.
Oh, no, Boris.
Certainly Boris. Boris the butcher. Boris the exterminator. Boris the new gardener.
Oh, no, maybe we could get a little extra something for finding Boris the gardener.
A very brilliant idea, Mrs. Pym. After all, nobody, not even Mr. Hubbard, come up with anybody like Boris.
Well, you know, just a little extra something, you know, for a rainy day. Oh, maybe I could get that nice little hat I saw in the milliner's window.
Daisy, get yourself back into the kitchen. Excuse me, sir. This is my brother-in-law. Boris, we spoke about his fee for his service to the cat. He's already done that, sir.
He's done the deed already? Well, that was fast.
Thereby hangs your tail. And so we do need a new gardener. Oh, Boris, this is Mr. Hubbard.
Boris, Mr. Pym has explained everything to you, has he?
He has. My lips are sealed.
Do you know anything about gardening, Boris?
Indeed I do, Mr. Hubbard.
Excellent. We'll talk more about the job later. It's just... Oh dear, this is becoming the worst kept secret ever. It seems that more people seem to know that if just one person slips up and says something...
Not me, boss. I am very trustworthy and I know a thing or two about roses.
That's good. You have to watch yourself around Mr. Otto. Should he ever mention Tecumseh, you know what to do.
You can count on me, boss. I am tactful.
Good. You should know everything there is to know about the cat. Like, what he likes to eat. Caviar. My wife spoiled it miserably. Hates Miss Cheshire's scent.
Your wife hates Miss Cheshire's perfume?
No! No, the cat hates Miss Cheshire's body scent. What else do you know, Mr. Pym?
He never set foot outside.
Yes.
He was a house cat.
Good.
He should never say that he saw Tecumseh running around the garden or climbing trees.
That's right. Mr. Otto is no one's fool. He knows cats. Now, tell me, Boris, what is it you do exactly?
No, little of this, little of that. I am a fritz of all trades. Usually messy jobs nobody else is willing to do. If you know what I mean, boss.
If I may interject, sir, there's another job that Boris may need to handle.
What is that, Mr. Pym?
George, sir.
George?
Yes, sir.
What about George?
Oh, he's gone. He's disappeared.
Who, George?
No, sir. The new cat. He was in the bedroom this morning when I went up to feed him, but when I went back just now, he had gone.
Well, don't just stand there. Stop looking for the kitty. And just hope Mr. Otto doesn't show up while we're looking.
What on earth is going on here? Oh, I don't believe we have met.
The name and voice is about me.
He's my brother-in-law, miss. He's here to help with the roses and with Tecumseh.
Why is it necessary to bring in another partner?
He has certain special skills. Now go outside, look for that cat! What feet off the sofa.
All right, now listen up, all of you. The cat is in my room, and he will be perfectly all right as long as you do exactly as I say.
But the cat has to be nursed and have his bandages changed. You are a monster.
You be quiet and listen to me. Now, I don't have as much to lose as the rest of you, so I intend to make the most of this little opportunity that has come my way. I'll take care of the kitty cat, and I'll see that the little darling lives a long and happy life. I will nurse him and change his bandages and feed him his caviar. And one day, you will all end up with a pocket full of cash.
And what are you going to want for all of this?
First of all, I want a bottle of your best scotch, the good stuff in the basement. Then, I would like all of my meals served to me in my room over the garage. And I don't want any of that pig swill you put out every day. I will instruct you on the menu each and every day.
Well, what if we don't agree to go along with your little scheme? Then what are you going to do?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing. But have a chat with that Mr. Otter. And then maybe a word with the local constabulary about that stash of illicit liquor you have in the basement and on the bar.
Well, if we do go along with your little plan, what sort of guarantees do we have? Like, what if Mr. Otter wants to see the cat?
No problem. If he wants to see the cat, I will take him there myself. As far as guarantees, there are no guarantees. You will just have to take my word for it. Oh, yes, and Mrs. Pym, tonight I think I would like pheasant under glass, if you would be so kind.
Oh, Boris, I need to speak with you. Boris, I may need... the rest of you can go back about your duties. Boris, I may be in need of your services again.
I understand, sir. I heard everything. I was outside the window. You don't need to say anything. Everything will be taken care of.
Just as long as you don't go too far. Of course, you will be amply compensated.
No, Mr. Pym mentioned you figure, did he?
No, not really. That's quite substantial.
And professional. I can give you references if you like.
No. References won't be necessary. Look, Boris, I don't know what you have in mind, but George is getting out of hand. Perhaps all he needs is a warning.
Do not trouble yourself, boss. I don't want you complicated.
Oh, implicated! No, the man is sick.
He's compressed.
Depressed! Yes, he has no family or friends.
Good. Nobody to miss him. I don't think you should be here, boss.
No. We should go for a walk. That's it, I'll go for a walk.
You rang, sir?
Oh, yes, Mrs. Pym. I was going to ask you what was for lunch, but I've decided to go for a walk. Better for my health.
You mean better than my cooking, sir?
Oh, yes. Oh, no, the fresh air. But, I was wondering, Mrs. Pym, are you able to make the pheasant under glass George requested?
No, sir. I'll just warm up some leftover chicken and serve it with my famous dandelion dressing. He wouldn't know the difference.
Sounds delicious. Well, I think I shall begin my walk.
Do you know where the bicarbonate of soda is, Gardner?
I imagine it would be in the kitchen.
I'm going to need a lot of it if I'm going to continue to eat Frau Pym's cookie. So you are Noel Pym's brother-in-law, are you?
Yes, I am. You're George the chauffeur, the one who likes good scotch.
Not really a chauffeur anymore. I'm more like family now. You know, I got my own roles. So you're German, are you?
I'm Swiss.
A regular William Tell, huh? Let me give you a piece of advice. If I was you, I would take all my meals in town. I'm sure you are well aware of your sister-in-law's reputation. I would wager that if they did an autopsy on Mrs. Hubbard, Margaret, that they would find the true cause of death was ptomaine poisoning.
George, and I call you George. I wonder if you could possibly assist me with the little problem I'm having in the garage.
I don't assist anyone anymore. In fact, I give the orders around here now.
I understand. But I have a rather good Scotch whiskey I would like to share with you for your help. I need some help moving some young.
Junk? Junk!
Job.
Well, you know, as a matter of fact, I could use some help with the car. It's parked on the hill out back. I could use some help checking the brakes.
George, it would be my pleasure. Please, lead the way.
How did this happen again?
He was very careless. Very careless. Apparently he crawled under the car to examine the brakes, but he forgot to make sure they were set before he did so.
Oh, poor chap. You would think he would make sure those brakes were set before crawling under it.
Yes, you would, wouldn't you?
You outdid yourself, Boris.
No, it wasn't me. It was an accident.
But you were with him when it happened.
I brought him over into the garage where I had everything arranged to take care of the problem.
You mean it really was an accident?
Yes, but don't tell anyone or I might not get my fee.
Well, then I want half.
Wonder, how do you like the food where you're going? Probably be all burned. Well, I hope the car's all right.
Oh dear. These staff problems never seem to end.
So will you be replacing George?
Yes. I think I'll have Boris take over George's duties. He seems to understand what needs to be done.
Well, I do hope Boris can still spare some time to come do some work for me. You won't need him full time, will you?
No, not anymore.
So, cheers. How's Tecumseh?
Oh, Tecumseh's angry.
Oh dear. I'm so sorry. What seems to be the matter? Have you had it looked at by a vet?
Oh, yes, of course. Of course. Everyone's very concerned. Everyone. Even George was. We all realize how important it is to keep that little cat happy.
Well, what did the vet say? What seems the matter?
What did the vet say? At first, he was very puzzled. And then, he did many tests. Many tests, many of which I'd never heard of before. And then finally, after all the tests, he decided it was Abyssinian abnormality.
Really? Abyssinian abnormality in a Persian cat?
Well, yes, of course, because he was only part Persian. And the vet said it's very rare. And catching the humans.
Oh. My goodness, do you have him in isolation?
Oh, yes, of course. Would you like to see him?
No! Would you have Boris come see me when he has time?
Oh, Mr. Hubbard, there's a young gentleman here to see you. Shall I show him in?
Well, what is it he wishes to see me about, Miss Cheshire? Oh, very well, just show him in. Oh, how do you do? I'm Jeremy Hubbard, Lord of the Manor.
Oh, I know who you are. I've heard all about you ever since I was a young boy.
Oh, really? Who spoke to you about me?
My mother. She knew you quite well.
Well, I knew a great number of women. Perhaps I can recall your mother. What was her name?
I'm sure you'll remember her very well. Her name was Margaret Hubbard.
Margaret? My late wife, Margaret? But that means you're her son.
Yes, Margaret was my mother by her first marriage to Sebastian Morrow. I'm Roger Morrow.
Margaret never told me she had a son from her first marriage.
That's because she thought you wouldn't be interested in her if she already had a child.
I don't think I believe a word you're saying. I would have known if Margaret had a son. For instance, where have you been for all these years?
My mother sent me away with an old friend, a missionary. She wished for me to be raised so I could grow up to serve mankind. For the last 22 years, I've been spreading the word of the good book around Africa.
Isn't that interesting? You show up just after your mother goes to the great beyond. What is it you want?
I came to collect my inheritance.
Your inheritance? I'm afraid your mother didn't leave you anything.
And what do you mean by that, sir?
She didn't mention you at all in the will.
What will would that be?
The will that my adoring, loving wife Margaret left, leaving me almost everything.
Let me set you straight on a couple of things. My mother wrote to me at least once a week for the last 20 years. She explained everything that was happening here and how you were cheating on her with every woman who wiggled her hips in front of you. She also told me you didn't give a cat's meow without her beloved's incumbency. Lately, she enclosed her will, which she said would be her final one, superseding any that may have been presented by Mr. Auken.
This is preposterous! I'm sure you have proof for all you say.
I most certainly do. I have all the proof I need right in here.
And who will vouch for this nonsense you're attempting to pass off?
Miss Cheshire is my witness.
Miss Cheshire? What does that scraggly old hag have to do with anything? Oh, not this, Miss Cheshire! Miss Cheshire, you can reveal this mountebank for what he is. You should tell me what Margaret's secretary. You would have known all about this nonsense.
I'm afraid it's all true, Jeremy. I corresponded with Roger the entire time you were married to Margaret, and I witnessed everything that she wrote or told him about. I'm afraid your cat days are numbered, Jeremy, old man.
Esmeralda, how could you?
Oh, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go take a stroll around my estate.
Oh, Roger, Mr. Morrow, allow me to accompany you and show you around.
Where's Auken? I have to talk to him. It's most important. He sent me a message saying he needed to talk to me about my finances. He said my money ain't what it used to be. By the way, do you know there's a man on your roof trying to break in?
Penny, it is good to see you, but I have no idea what you're talking about. I'd have left the show a while ago. As to the fellow on the roof, that's Boris. He's working on all the damage that was created by the storm the other night. He's doing a killer job. Oh, Penny, I've just received the most terrible news. A young man has showed up claiming to be Margaret's son and saying he's the true heir.
Margaret's son? Oh, I didn't know Margaret had a son.
Yes, from her first marriage to Sebastian Morrow.
Oh, I don't believe it. Has he been hiding under the bed all this time?
He says he was a missionary in Africa.
Does he have proof?
He claims to. And he also says the will that Otto read is null and void.
Oh, we must find Otto and get this sorted out. Oh, dear. Things are looking black for the
He'd be the handyman and the roof needed fixing. He said, leave it to me. And I did.
So you're saying he just fell? A man who was experienced with roses couldn't fix a few shingles?
If you don't believe me, ask the other people that were here. Mr. Cheshire and Roger were both here when it happened.
Roger?
Oh, that's me. How do you do, Mr. Otto, I presume? I was here when that fellow fell.
Thank you, Roger. If Boris's family isn't going to sue, that's the fellow they should be suing.
What are you talking about?
That Roger over there, he claims to be Margaret's son and the true heir.
What? You can't be serious. Margaret never had a son. I know. She and I were very close.
I thought so. He's an imposter. I am still the true heir.
We will find out when the police arrive about this accident. It was an accident, wasn't it?
Yes, of course it was.
Police will be here any moment. We shall soon find out.
I've been looking for you. We need to get this money business sorted out.
Penny, this is Roger Morrow. Margaret's so-called son I told you about.
How do you do? Roger! Long time no see.
You know him, do you?
Oh, of course I do. Morrow, indeed. This is Roger Titmarsh. He's the biggest con man in the business. We've been after him for years.
I thought so. You can't fool me. We shall see what you have to say when the police show up to investigate Boris's accident.
Oh, it's all lies. But I have to be off. I have to get back to Africa. The boat is waiting for me.
Oh, Roger, don't leave me. He could have had it all.
Miss Cheshire, you're well rid of that criminal son of a... Otto, I came here to talk to you. What exactly did your message mean?
Oh, Penny. I'm so sorry. Wall Street has crashed. You're broke. But don't despair. I've salted some money way down in the islands. We can live happily ever after on that. You know, I've always adored you.
Otto, you little devil. What about Margaret's inheritance? Is all that lost?
Margaret was well aware of what was going on. She protected her money by investing offshore.
Otto, what you're saying is that I am still rich. Or will be a year from now.
Yes, provided you're still married and that cat Tecumseh is still alive.
God is smiling at me. Oh, ye of little faith.
Oh, Jeremy, Mr. Hubbard. I didn't know he wasn't Margaret's son. I hope you don't think I was any part of this deception.
Jeremy, we really must talk about your plan for when you get the inheritance next year.
Well, I'm going out into the garden and look at your rose.
If you wouldn't mind waiting here, I'll go and find Mr. Hubbard.
Thank you.
Oh, you must be the woman here about the maid's job.
I do.
Yes. I'm the lady of the house. You may call me Mrs. Hubbard. I'll go and find Mrs. Pym to show you around and tell you your duties. Wait here.
Hubbard said was here about the maid's job. Well, I just don't have time. So many things have been happening. We had 3 deaths recently, and the police are expected at any moment because our handyman fell off the roof, broke his neck, and killed himself.
I did notice quite a lot of activity as I came up the drive. Actually, I was hoping to see Mr. Hubbard.
Oh, Mr. Hubbard doesn't bother with the hiring. He leaves that to me.
Mrs. Pym, I think it's going to start raining again.
Oh, Mr. Otto, this lady is here about the maid's job.
How do you do? My name is Otto. I am the family lawyer, Miss...
Phoebe.
Phoebe.
Phoebe Higginbottom.
Higginbottom. That was Margaret's maiden name. What a coincidence. You're not related, are you?
Margaret was my sister. I was unable to come to the funeral as I live in Kansas, but I was hoping to see Mr. Hubbard. Jeremy.
Mr. Hubbard will be with you presently, madam.
Have you ever met Jeremy before?
Oh, no, but I know all about him from my sister. Margaret and I used to stay in touch by mail on a frequent basis. It'll be interesting to meet him after all these years of being an in-law.
I think I hear him now.
How do you do? I am Jeremy Hubbard, Lord of the Manor, so to speak.
Jeremy, this is Phoebe Higginbottom, Margaret's sister.
Margaret, my late wife, Margaret.
That's right, your late wife's sister, Phoebe.
Well, how do you do? What can I do for you?
It's what I can do for you.
Well then, what is that?
Well, just before she passed away, Margaret wrote to me, updating me on all the news. She knew she was dying, and she suggested I come here in order to hear the reading of the will.
Oh, I am sorry, but I'm afraid you're a bit late. You see, Margaret insisted that I would read it right after the funeral. She's probably laughing from her grave. It was a very complicated document, but the gist of it was I inherited most everything except for a few bequests for the staff, as long as I get married right away.
Oh, I'm not talking about that will. I'm referring to the will she wrote just before she passed away.
I am sure that will I read is the very last will that Margaret wrote.
Actually, there is another dated later than that one.
And where is this so-called will?
Well, first, if you would gather everyone in, we can get this done.
Very well. Mr. Pym, will you call in Miss Pendergast, Miss Cheshire, and Mrs. Hubbard?
Yes, sir.
I am sure that Margaret would not have made a new will without consulting me.
I'm looking forward to it. Perhaps she's had a change of heart.
What on earth is going on? Where is Mrs. Pym? And what are you still doing here?
Angelique, this is Phoebe Higginbottom, Margaret's sister.
You told me you were here for the maid's job.
Oh, Phoebe's not here about the maid's job. She's here about some sort of new will.
Why would you tell me you was a new maid?
I didn't say that. You must have assumed it.
Why would you want a job as a maid?
Tell me, what happened to the chauffeur?
He was run over by the car and killed.
Who was driving?
Nobody.
Nobody?
It was the car's way of getting back at him for the way he drove it.
And the other man I heard about?
He was my brother-in-law, miss. He was the handyman.
He fell off the roof and broke his neck.
3 deaths coming all at the same time. Well, the local undertaker's business is apparently booming. And you tell me that they were both accidents?
Well, some of us wondered the same thing.
Margaret said she wrote this will without anyone knowing. She even had it witnessed in the town. Mr. Pym, would you please go to the grandfather clock and open it up? Hopefully you will find a certain document. I think I should tell you all that in Margaret's last letter, she told me how Mr. Otto had inserted a blank legal page in an insurance file he had asked her to sign. She was sure he was going to use it as her last will.
Well, of course, and he's the sole beneficiary of the cat society.
Excuse me. You say that Margaret told you she put the will in the grandfather club?
You must be Penelope Pendergast with an H and a T. Just as Margaret described you. But a little heavier and older. Thank you, Mr. Pym.
So that was your plan all along, was it? To grab everything for yourself and leave me unhappy with a wife for a year?
Pardonnez-moi.
Oh, not you, actually. You assumed I'd end up with Mildred.
So what was the mother? If you will all be quiet, I can begin reading the will. Hubbard, ne Morrow, ne Higginbottom.
You can leave out the part about being of sound mind.
To Mrs. Pym, who was a good housekeeper. Though she never learned to cook, I leave the remaining Haviland china. That which she has not broken during her arguments with Mr. Pym. I believe there's 1 cup and 2 saucers left. And to Mr. Pym, the last case of Chateau Yquem left by my first husband, Mr. Morrow. I believe there may be 1 bottle left that Mr. Pym has not yet drunk. And to Miss Cheshire, I listened to you recite the time every hour on the hour. As time is so important to you, it is most fitting that you should have the grandfather clock.
It hasn't worked since the day she died.
And lastly, to my devoted husband, Jeremy, I leave $300,000. Which I am sending to his 3 children in Newark, New Jersey, whom he has neglected to recognize and refused to support.
That's it? Nothing else? Penniless.
And the rest of the estates, the summer home, the winter home, the rolls, the yacht, and all the rest of the money in my offshore accounts, I leave to my dear sister Phoebe Higginbottom on the condition that she finds a new lawyer.
Come on, Daisy. We've got some packing to do. We haven't got that much to pack.
Uncle Noel, you wait for me! I'm not gonna spend another miserable minute with him! He killed my daddy!
Your daddy?
Boris was my daddy! You aging, faded Lothario!
Come on, Gertrude. We got a bus right there.
Gertrude? Penny! Oh, Penny, surely you won't desert me. I was never really married to Angelique or Gertrude. It was just some out-of-work actor that I hired to be minister. I'm free for you.
Even at that price, I can't afford you. Not after losing all the money Daddy invested in Wall Street. I'm broke. Otto, that money you say you put away for a rainy day, do you think it could support the both of us in abject poverty?
Miss Cheshire, how much do you think that clock is worth? Or should I say, Esmeralda? Have I told you how lovely you look with your hair down?
Time and Miss Cheshire waits for no man.
Goodbye, Margaret. It was fun while it lasted. Do you realize I'll probably have to go out and work for a living? Oh, that's the cruelest cut of all.